Hey everyone, this is Michael again, and welcome to the Smackdown review. And Smackdown tonight, I gotta say, it was a decent show tonight. Smackdown was actually a good show, in my opinion. And it was, of course, a lot better than Monday Night Raw. Well, everything is better than Monday Night Raw. But before I start the review, if you guys haven't checked out my previous video that I uploaded my movie review of Mortal Kombat. So if you guys haven't checked out my review of that, definitely go check it out. Uploaded it earlier today. Saw the film earlier today. So definitely check out my review if you guys haven't seen it. But SmackDown tonight, like I said, it was a good show. Really enjoyed SmackDown tonight. We had Cesaro and Daniel Bryan versus Seth Rollins and Jey Uso. The Intercontinental Championship was on the line, where Apollo Crews defended it against Kevin Owens. And we also had Rey and Dominik once again versus Chad Gable and Otis. Same shit, though, but overall, like I said, SmackDown was a decent, good show, in my opinion. But let's get right into the review. So SmackDown opened up tonight with Cesaro. Cesaro was in the ring. He had a mic in hand. He was trying to go to speak, but he was then interrupted by Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins ended up getting new theme music, which to me, in my opinion, is awful. I think Seth Rollins' new theme is awful, in my opinion. I know there's probably some of you who like Rollins' new music. It just didn't do anything for me. But Rollins ended up speaking from the stage. He was mocking Cesaro, but he congratulated Cesaro on reaching his potential finally. And Rollins ended up saying that he took Cesaro from way down at the bottom and gave him the performance of his life, bringing him all the way up to the promised land. Of course, because, Cesaro and Rollins had their match at WrestleMania. So Rollins ended up asking, where is his thanks? And he hasn't heard anything. And that he has heard that Cesaro is planning on moving on from Seth Rollins. And I'm saying that his eyes are on the Universal Championship. So Rollins ended up saying, he said it last week and he will say it again. This isn't over, because nothing is over until he says so, until Rollins says so. So Rollins ended up blaming the weather, the rain delay at WrestleMania that threw him off his game. And he ended up saying that if it wasn't for that, Cesaro couldn't beat him on his worst day, and also Cesaro's best. So Cesaro ended up saying that he's having a great day, but it would be even better if Rollins came into the ring, so he can prove that he can beat Rollins again. Rollins then ended up saying to Cesaro, is that a challenge? So he then starts coming down to the ring. So then Jey Uso then came out. Jey Uso ended up saying to Cesaro that he can't beat Roman, and that he doesn't deserve to be in the same ring as him. Jey Uso said to Cesaro that he can't beat Roman, he can't beat him, or beat Rollins again. Jey went on to say that his family disrespected Cesaro, and that he's going to do the same thing again. So Jey Uso then dropped the mic, headed to the ring. Rollins ended up stopping him. Rollins was talking some strategy to Jey Uso, and they were talking about how they should double team on Cesaro. So they end up surrounding the ring. Jey and Seth surround the ring, and Cesaro is getting ready to fight the both of them. And then out came Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan then ended up joining Cesaro in the ring. Daniel Bryan got on the mic, and he ended up asking where they're going. He ended up saying that he gets it, and that they didn't actually come out for the reasons they said they did. He ended up saying that he knows Jey Uso came out because Cesaro wants a shot at the Universal Championship against Roman. He ended up saying that Rollins came out because he's embarrassed and upset over him losing to Cesaro at WrestleMania. So Daniel Bryan then believed that Roman probably sent Jey out. Daniel Bryan ended up saying that he came out here to make sure Cesaro finally gets what he deserves. He ended up saying that he hasn't done this for Rollins or Jey because he has an infinite amount of respect for Cesaro. Because Cesaro's worked harder than anybody, including him, Jey, and Roman. So Daniel Bryan ended up saying that Roman is only where he's at because of family connections. And that Cesaro hasn't got one break his entire career for the Universal Championship. Yeah, Daniel Bryan's right about that. So Daniel Bryan ended up asking if Rollins and Jey are going to come fight them. Or is Roman going to come out and accept the challenge from Cesaro? Daniel Bryan ended up saying that REIGNS doesn't like to wrestle or fight. So Daniel Bryan ended up speculating that REIGNS will come out and that they will triple team him and Cesaro. So Roman will come out, him, Jey, and Rollins would triple on them. Then we had Roman Reigns come out. Reigns came out, of course, along with Paul Heyman. So Reigns ended up saying that Daniel Bryan is the guy on the bottom, meaning that he's nothing but a loser. And ended up saying that Cesaro is a loser for letting Daniel Bryan speak for him. So he ended up calling the top tier losers main event losers. So Reigns ended up saying that they're dumb losers for talking trash while surrounded by people that want to kick their ass. Reigns ended up wishing good luck, and he ended up walking off. And that was that. Seth Rollins and Jey Uso looked like they were headed to the ring to get ready for a match between Cesaro and Daniel Bryan, which they actually did have the match. So the first match of the night was Cesaro and Daniel Bryan versus Seth Rollins and Jey Uso. This was a decent, enjoyable tag team match here. So we had the match start off with Daniel Bryan attacking Jey Uso. Daniel Bryan ended up throwing Jey on the mat. Went for a cover. Jey ended up kicking out 2. Rollins was shown talking trash at the announce table. And Cesaro ended up dropping an elbow on Jey Uso. Went for the cover. Jey ended up kicking out 2. Rollins then got knocked off of the apron by Cesaro. Cesaro ended up delivering a vertical suplex to Jey Uso. And Cesaro ended up pinning Jey Uso, which Jey Uso ended up kicking out at 2. Rollins ended up coming in. Cesaro then unloaded with uppercuts and strikes into the corner to Rollins. And Rollins ended up nailing a sling blade to Cesaro. Rollins ended up dropping a strike on Cesaro, started mounting Cesaro with shots. So later on in the match, we saw a headlock locked in from Seth Rollins to Cesaro. Cesaro then fired out of the headlock, and he ran to a boot in the corner from Seth Rollins. Rollins then came off of the second rope, and Cesaro ended up catching him. Cesaro then delivered the tilt-a-whirl backbreaker to Rollins. Daniel Bryan then came in. Daniel Bryan then delivered the missile dropkick to Rollins. And after Daniel Bryan delivered the missile dropkick to Rollins, he then knocked Jey Uso off the apron. Daniel Bryan then laid in some yes kicks to Rollins. At the end of the match, Cesaro and Daniel Bryan ended up winning, where we had Daniel Bryan come in and he delivered the running knee to Jey Uso. So there you go. Cesaro and Daniel Bryan end up winning the match. Post-match, we saw Daniel Bryan get on the mic, and he ended up calling out Roman Reigns. He was taunting Roman on the mic. Jey Uso then ended up trying to attack from behind. Cesaro ended up catching Uso, ended up dropping him. Cesaro then ended up doing the Cesaro swing to Jey Uso. And Daniel Bryan was continuing to taunt Roman on the mic. Jey Uso then ended up getting up. Cesaro ended up putting Uso right back down with an uppercut. So Daniel Bryan ended up saying that he doesn't know if Reigns is coming to answer Cesaro's challenge because Roman is afraid of those swings. So Cesaro was taunting Reigns on the mic. Cesaro ended up saying that Reigns not saving his cousin shows that he is not a family man. And it shows what kind of man he truly is. So Daniel Bryan ended up saying that maybe Cesaro should swing Jey Uso again. So Cesaro ended up swinging Jey Uso once again. Daniel Bryan was then taunting Roman again into coming out and saving his cousin, saving Jey Uso. So Daniel Bryan ended up going on about how Reigns couldn't beat him or Edge without help, and that he knows that he can't beat Cesaro. So Daniel Bryan ended up saying that Reigns knows if he faces Cesaro one-on-one, then Cesaro will become the new Universal Champion. So that was that. But overall, decent, enjoyable match. Decent, enjoyable tag team match. So then we saw Sonya Deville and Adam Pearce backstage. Apollo Crews ended up walking in with Commander Aziz. And Apollo Crews was furious about having to defend the Intercontinental Championship tonight. So Apollo ended up threatening to have Commander Aziz hit Big E with another Nigerian nail if he has to face him again after beating him at WrestleMania. So Adam Pearce ended up saying that Big E will get his shot at the Intercontinental Championship when he's able to. But Adam Pearce ended up saying that Apollo Crews has to defend the Intercontinental Championship tonight against Kevin Owens. So that was that. So we got that match later on in the night. And then we had Nia Jax versus Tamina, cousin versus cousin. Who cares? It's like watching Monday Night Raw on a Friday night with this. Might as well call it Friday Night Raw because Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler are on. And we also had Reginald there tonight. I'm like, oh God, Reginald's back. So we had, before the match got underway, Kayla Braxton ended up stopping Jey Uso in the back. Kayla Braxton was asking about what just happened with Seth Rollins walking out on him. So Jey ended up saying that he doesn't give a damn about Cesaro or Seth Rollins because he's about to throw up. So Jey Uso was ranting about the disrespect from Cesaro, and he ended up saying that he's about to get put down. So that was that. That was what Jey Uso had to say. So then Nia Jax versus Tamina got underway. I'm like, who cares about this match? Match was terrible. Tamina ended up winning. Tamina ended up super kicking Nia Jax. And that was that. Post-match, Nia Jax was emotional. Shayna Baszler and Reginald ended up coming into the ring. And both of them were pleading with Nia Jax. Who cares? Did you all care? I know I didn't. And I know you guys did not care about this. awful. God awful. So then we saw Kayla Braxton backstage with Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens ended up telling Kayla Braxton that it's been years since his last shot at the Intercontinental Championship, and that he's been waiting for this. He ended up saying that he's thrilled and delighted. He ended up saying that he wasn't expecting this opportunity and that he's not going to turn it down. He wanted to say that a lot of people want to take the Intercontinental Championship from Apollo Crews, and that he will gladly be the one. So Big E ends up coming in. He starts laughing. He ends up saying that Kevin Owens jumped the line. And Kevin Owens ended up joking that Big E lost the Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania. And that he's probably right about getting a rematch. And that it's not happening tonight. Because this is his opportunity. This is Owens' opportunity. So Kevin Owens ended up saying that he will have fun. Because when he wins, the Intercontinental Championship will be his. So then we saw Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan ended up approaching Adam Pearce in the back about getting the shot set up for Cesaro for the Universal Championship. So Adam Pearce ended up saying that it's not that easy, but he will try. So Daniel Bryan then said to Adam Pearce that Pearce has to do more than try. So that was that. And then we saw Kevin Owens versus Apollo Crews, Intercontinental Championship on the line. Pretty good match here. We had Kevin Owens end up coming out first. And then Apollo Crews came out along with Commander Aziz. So the match ended up starting off with both guys locking up. Kevin Owens ended up delivering a single leg takedown to Apollo Crews. He kept control, started ground Apollo Crews with a headlock, and they went back and forth. Kevin Owens delivered a big senton and a clothesline, which sent Apollo Crews over the top rope in front of Commander Aziz. So Kevin Owens ended up running the ropes to fly out to the floor to attack Apollo Crews, but Commander Aziz, was standing in front of Apollo Crews. You know, it just reminds me of Omos, protecting AJ Styles. So I'm like, Commander Aziz is Omos to Apollo Crews. So it just reminded me of that. So we had Apollo Crews end up taking advantage of the match. He ended up dropping Kevin Owens on his way back into the ring. Apollo Crews then delivered a snap suplex to Kevin Owens, which he went for the cover. Kevin Owens ended up kicking out at 1. It was a quick 1 count. Apollo Crews then started working on Kevin Owens, started keeping Kevin Owens down. Apollo Crews then ended up dropping Kevin Owens into the corner, started stomping away at him. And Apollo Crews ended up missing a moonsault, and Kevin Owens ended up delivering a kick to Apollo Crews. Kevin Owens ended up bringing Apollo Crews back into the ring, hits a swanton from the top rope, went for the cover, which Apollo ended up kicking out at 2. So we had Sami Zayn end up coming out. So Sami Zayn, at this point in the match, was on commentary. So Kevin Owens ended up delivering a super kick to Apollo Crews, went for the cover. Crews ended up kicking out at 2. Apollo Crews then delivered a suplex, a German suplex, for a close 2 count to Kevin Owens. So at the end of the match, Owens ended up catching Apollo Crews with the pop-up powerbomb, and Crews ended up still kicking out at 2. So Commander Aziz was shown getting up on the apron. Commander Aziz was yelling at Kevin Owens, which led to Apollo Crews taking advantage of the distraction. Crews then rolled up Kevin Owens for the win. And there you go. Apollo Crews ended up winning the match, retaining the Intercontinental Championship, thanks to Commander Aziz. Post-match, Kevin Owens ended up nailing Apollo Crews with the stunner. Commander Aziz ended up coming in, and Commander Aziz ended up laying Kevin Owens out with the Nigerian nail. So that was that. And then Sami Zayn ended up coming into the ring. He was doing his dancing over Kevin Owens while Kevin Owens was laid out in the ring. Funny. It's funny when Sami Zayn, does his dances. It's going to be a GIF for, until the end of time. That Sami Zayn's dance is going to be a GIF until the end of time. So it was It's classic when Sami Zayn does his dance moves. It's just hilarious. But overall, this was a good match. This was a good match for the Intercontinental Championship. So then we saw Kayla Braxton backstage with Paul Heyman. Kayla Braxton asked Paul Heyman if Roman will accept Cesaro's challenge. So Paul Heyman ended up going on about admiring and respecting Cesaro and liking Cesaro in a professional way. So Paul Heyman ended up saying that he doesn't answer the question, but says, "We will hear from Roman before the night is over." So that was that. So Roman has had until the end of the night to answer the challenge for Cesaro. So then we had Megan Morant. Megan Morant is new backstage correspondent for SmackDown. And she was interviewing Apollo Crews. Apollo Crews ended up walking in, and he was celebrating his win over Kevin Owens. Apollo Crews ended up saying to Morant, "Let what happened be proof of what will happen to anyone foolish enough to come for his Intercontinental Championship." So Apollo Crews was attacked by Big E. Big E ended up dropping Apollo Crews. Big E was pulled away by officials. So we see Commander Aziz end up running up. He ended up checking on Apollo Crews. And Aziz ended up standing up from Apollo Crews, and Aziz wasn't happy. So that was that. So we saw the return of Aleister Black. We got a new vignette from Aleister Black. Aleister Black was shown sitting in a chair. He ended up saying that he wants us to know the truth. Black ended up talking about how people aren't honest. So he ended up reading a chapter from this book called Tales from the Dark Father, the Dragon. He ended up talking about a child whose father took him to other people's funerals and celebrations of life and death. He ended up saying that he was too young to understand, but his father became cold and distant. Aleister Black ended up saying that he learned not how to defeat the dragon, but to become the dragon. Black went on to say that people are weak-minded and turn their children into bigger monsters than they are. So Aleister Black went on to say that people need to be scorched from earth to make room for more fertile things. So we saw smoke end up filling up the room that Aleister Black was in, and the vignette ends. So finally, Aleister Black is back on TV. It's about fucking time. When was the last time we saw Aleister Black on TV? I think it was back in maybe October. That was the last time I think we saw Aleister Black on TV. And you had his wife, Thea Trinidad, aka Zelina Vega, getting released. And because of that, he wasn't on TV for that long. Because of that. Because of his wife getting released. So, glad to see Aleister Black back on WWE television. Even though it was just a vignette that he was in. So at least he was on TV. So then we saw Kayla Braxton backstage with Robert Roode and Dolph Ziggler, the SmackDown Tag Team Champions. Kayla Braxton ended up asking who will win the match against the Alpha Academy, Chad Gable and Otis, versus Rey and Dominik Mysterio. Dolph ended up going with the Alpha Academy. He ended up saying that he believes Dominik has some big shoes to fill with Rey. So Kayla then ended up asking, who's next for Roode and Ziggler? So the Street Profits end up interrupting, and the Street Profits end up saying that they want another title shot after losing last week. Dolph ended up telling them to get to the back of the line. So the Profits and Roode and Ziggler end up facing off. Bayley ended up getting in between them. She ended up calming things down. And that was that. So then Bayley ended up going on about her match against Bianca Belair at WrestleMania Backlash. And WWE did make the match official earlier in the day. So it's going to be Bianca versus Bayley at WrestleMania Backlash for the SmackDown Women's Championship. So Bayley ended up taking credit for helping Bianca get ready for the SmackDown Women's Championship. And Bayley ended up saying that Bianca is rude. So she's going to take back what's hers at WrestleMania Backlash. And she is going to go back to the top of the division. So Bayley ended up telling Kayla Braxton that she can go tell Bianca that. So Montez Ford ended up coming back over to Bayley. And he has, of course, Bianca, who of course is his wife, on speakerphone. So Bianca, over speakerphone, ended up saying that she will be right there to deal with Bayley. And that Bayley is ready to say it to her face. So that was that. Then SmackDown went to commercial. Then when SmackDown came back, we had Kayla Braxton there with Bianca Belair. Bayley was with Kayla and Bianca. Bianca ended up asking about the trash Bayley was talking about. So Bayley ended up changing her tune a little bit there. She congratulated Bianca on her win at WrestleMania, win the SmackDown Women's Championship. She ended up saying that she's honored to be her first challenger. Bayley ended up going on about how she handled Sasha, and says again that it's going to be an honor to face Bianca at WrestleMania Backlash. So Bayley ended up walking off. Bianca ended up telling Kayla Braxton that that's not what she was expecting. So Bayley ended up walking back over to Bianca, and Bayley ended up saying that she has one more thing. So Bayley started laughing at Bianca, and Bianca ended up staring at Bayley as she walked off. And that was that. So, like I said, we're getting Bianca versus Bayley at WrestleMania Backlash for the SmackDown Women's Championship. So then we had Rey and Dominik Mysterio versus Otis and Chad Gable, the Alpha Academy. Same shit. This was the same fucking shit. So we had Rey Mysterio and Dominik end up winning the match. Rey ended up hitting Chad Gable with the 619. He went to the top, delivered a frog splash. There you go. Rey and Dominik ended up winning the match. I mean, do I have to go over the match? It's the same shit. So, post-match, Cesaro's music ended up coming on. He ended up coming out along with Daniel Bryan. And so SmackDown went to commercial. Then when SmackDown came back, Cesaro was in the ring with Daniel Bryan. Cesaro ended up getting on the mic. And Cesaro ended up saying that he's ready for an answer from Roman. Cesaro ended up saying that they can come back there and get an answer from Roman if they have to. And that's up to him. So then Roman ended up making his way out along with Jey Uso and Paul Heyman. Reigns came into the ring. He raised the Universal Championship. He raised the championship in Cesaro's face. So Reigns got on the mic. He ended up saying that he can't believe Cesaro is going to challenge him. He ended up saying that Cesaro doesn't deserve it and that he hasn't earned it. Reigns ended up saying that this will always be his because Cesaro can't get on his level. Reigns then wanted to say that the champ issues the challenges around here. And he challenges. So Reigns ended up looking over at Daniel Bryan. And Roman ended up saying that the challenge goes to him. Reigns ended up saying that he doesn't like Daniel Bryan. He has never liked him and never will. So Reigns ended up saying that he will give Daniel Bryan one more opportunity. He ended up telling Daniel Bryan that he will get one more opportunity at the Universal Championship next week on SmackDown. So Reigns was like, what do you have to say? Cesaro ended up telling Daniel Bryan that he has to take the shot. He was like, you can do this. You have to. Reigns then ended up telling Cesaro to shut up. And Reigns ended up saying that when Daniel Bryan loses, he never wants to see Daniel Bryan again. And that he wants Daniel Bryan to disappear and vanish. And also never to be seen on his show again. So Reigns was like, do you understand me? So Daniel Bryan ended up stepping up to Roman, and Daniel Bryan accepted the challenge. So Reigns ended up raising the Universal Championship in Daniel Bryan's face, started taunting Daniel Bryan. Reigns ended up saying that Daniel Bryan will never have this, and that the Universal Championship will always be his. So that was that. Michael Cole on commentary ended up saying that Daniel Bryan will be banished from SmackDown forever if he loses next week. So Daniel Bryan put his career on the line against Roman Reigns. And the match is confirmed for next Friday. Daniel Bryan's career is on the line. So, but that was how SmackDown went off the air tonight. Well, overall, this is interesting right here. You know, with Roman and Daniel Bryan. With Daniel Bryan putting his career on the line. This is interesting stuff right here. So, but overall, SmackDown tonight was a decent show. It was a good show tonight. You know, minus, you know, the women's match and the Rey and Dominik versus Alpha Academy match. You know, this was a good show tonight, in my opinion. The wrestling was good. So, and it was enjoyable. And it made the show fly by fast, in my opinion. So, but anyways, that's it for the SmackDown review. Thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed this review. Definitely give the video a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, and I will see you all later.